welcome to the show. In fact, we begin in the north, but in Tunisia, where dissent is growing. The Tunisia Lawyers' Council called Sunday for a nationwide strike after police conducted a raid on the headquarters of Tunisia's Bar Association and arrested Sonia Damani, a prominent critic of the government. Politicians and journalists and even unions say that freedom of the press faces a serious threat under the rule of Kais Saied. The president has rejected the accusations and said he will not become a dictator. Here's our cover report.
Lawyers in Tunisia are outraged. They've had enough of their president. Lawyer and political commentator Sonia Damani's comments on television about the state of the country infuriated the Kais Saied government. Tunisian police stormed the building of Deanship of Lawyers and arrested Damani, and then arrested two journalists who witnessed the confrontation. Tunisian media reported Damani was under investigation under the controversial Decree 54 that outlaws spreading false news online or in the media and incitement to hate speech. Journalists and opposition figures argue the law has been used to stifle dissent.
The association demands the immediate release of lawyer Sonia Damani and expresses its solidarity with her.
This is the beleaguered leader, President Kais Saied, seen here visibly annoyed. As the lawyers were protesting, he had other priorities, among them dissolving the Tunisian Swimming Federation's board and sacking the Director General of the National Anti-Doping Agency, following controversy over the Tunisian flag being covered during an international competition organized at the sports complex in Rades, a coastal town on the outskirts of the capital.
Here in Tunisia, who is allowed to cover the Tunisian flag? This cannot be tolerated. Those who talk about the Olympic Committee, the instructions. Tunisia comes before the Olympic Committee and before any other committee. This is an act of aggression. It will not be tolerated, no matter who is involved.
The North African leader has often been tagged as an autocrat, leading with an iron fist and always wears the assertive, belligerent face. In September 2022, Saied signed Decree 54 that mandates up to 5 years in prison for the use of communications networks to produce, spread or disseminate false news or slander others, tarnish their reputation financially or morally harm them. Since the decree came into force, more than 60 journalists, lawyers and opposition figures have been prosecuted under it, according to the National Union of Tunisian Journalists. The dissent has now blown up. Demonstrators chanting slogans while lifting Tunisian and Palestinian flags marched at a rally organized by the National Salvation Front Opposition Alliance in Tunis to call for the release of arrested opposition figures deemed critical of the country's president and for free elections.
Faced with his inability to handle the country's crisis, the president has only one response: put all those who think in prison. So in these conditions, talking about elections is really making a mockery of the world.
Saied came to power in free elections in 2019. 2 years later, he seized additional powers when he shut down the elected parliament and moved to rule by decree before assuming authority over the judiciary. Since Tunisia's 2011 revolution, the country has won more press freedoms and is considered one of the more open media environments in the Arab world. Politicians, journalists and unions, however, say the freedom of the press faces a serious threat under the rule of Saied. The president has rejected the accusations and said he will not become a dictator. Bureau Report, WION World is One.
For all the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.